Welcome to my comparison between Honkai and Genshin Impact. I'm comparing both of these games because I play them both quite a bit, and they're also made by the same studio, miHoYo. So there's obviously going to be quite a few similarities, although there's quite a few differences as well, and we'll be taking a look at all of these. So first, to get a few things out of the way, I started playing Genshin Impact first, and then I found Honkai Impact through Genshin Impact. I play Genshin a bit more, but I also really enjoy Honkai. Before we get into the main part of the video, I just wanted to say that one of the features that I enjoy in both of these games is that you can play them and cross-progress on them on both mobile and PC, and I really enjoy having this flexibility, and it's actually what got me into playing them both so much. Both of these games are also gacha games, so you are going to be rolling the dice whenever you want a new character or weapon and some of the best materials in the game. I've played a couple of gacha games, but these two have really stood out to me, and we're going to get into why they have. So over this course of this video, we're going to be taking a look at the characters. We're also going to be comparing the gameplay. We'll take a look at the worlds and the world design, and we'll also be taking a look at how the story is presented in both of these titles. So first, let's kick things off by taking a look at the characters, and miHoYo does a great job at character design, and they put a lot of details into each character. They want you to feel really rewarded whenever you get a new character, and as you can see, all of these characters are very detailed, they have their own voice lines, and they also have very interesting skill sets that's unique to each of them. I think that miHoYo has some of the most polished character design in the industry right now, and they actually really want to show that off. So for example, in Honkai Impact, you get this model viewer where you can zoom in and see all of the details on your characters, and in Genshin Impact, we have the photo mode equivalent. So both of these games feature amazingly detailed character design, but let's take a look at the leveling experience because that is where most of us are going to be spending a lot of our time. How rewarding is it to level up and spend time investing in these characters? And I can say from playing Genshin Impact for over a year that the leveling experience in Genshin Impact feels very rewarding, and every time you level up a skill, you feel like you see real gameplay differences from going the extra mile and investing in that skill. The same thing goes for Honkai Impact, although I don't feel quite as rewarded for leveling up the skills, although it is at a much smaller incremental level in this game. As far as advancing your characters through the ranks, in Honkai Impact you collect fragments to go between A, S, SS, and SSS rank, and you can get those fragments a number of different ways through the gacha or through completing some missions. In Genshin, the equivalent to ranking up your character would be the constellation system, and you can only get duplicates of your character to rank up the constellation system through the gacha system most of the time. Some of the characters you can earn through events though, which is a nice addition. Now you can also invest in your character by going into the artifact rolling system in Genshin Impact, and as you get these artifacts you will get random stats on them, so it actually is kind of a fun meta game to play, trying to go for the best artifacts, and it can also be a headache as well. The equivalent to this artifact system in Honkai Impact would be the Stigmata system. So these Stigmatas also have some random rolls on them, and they are very similar to the artifact system. I personally prefer the artifact system as you can constantly farm for those artifacts, and the best ones you can just get on your own pretty easily. However, in Honkai you kind of have to wait for some specific events, or you have to spend a lot of really rare currency to get the best Stigmata set for your character. So it is a bit easier to get up in this system on the Genshin Impact side of things. Another thing that's specific to both of these games is that a couple of the characters have very clear best in slot weapons, or one or two best choices. There's also quite a few that work very well, but some of these are going to really stand out. The same holds true for Honkai Impact. You're going to have one or two weapons that really stands out for a specific character, but investing in that weapon and building it up is a lot of fun, and you'll really see gameplay differences if you take the time to grind out for these really good weapons, or if you get lucky and get them in the pulls. And just a quick aside, if you're enjoying the style of this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing and enabling that notification icon. That would really help me out. And back to the video. So in Genshin Impact, one of the main systems for building your characters and deciding on a team is the elemental resonance system and the elemental effects that you're going to create with that system. Genshin Impact really rewards coming up with a synergized team, and these elements really play off each other, and it's actually a lot of fun to come up with a team that really plays off of each other and synergizes well. For example, here in this cryo boss battle, if you have a team with like 2 pyro users on it, you get a 25% bonus to your damage. And then if you've got this hydro effect and you inflict an enemy with hydro and then you go to pyro, you get increased damage gains as well. So the elemental resonance system in Genshin Impact is really interesting, and I've had a lot of fun with that. In Honkai Impact, you don't quite have the same thing, although you do have specific damage types that are going to be strong or weak against specific types of enemies. However, I feel that the game doesn't really go into that too much. And really there's only 4 specific different elemental damage types, and you also have physical damage as well. But I feel that Genshin Impact's elemental system is a bit more interesting. In Honkai Impact, you do have the resonance between certain teammates, and they do recommend certain teammates that synergize well, and you can kind of play these characters off of each other really well. And I've actually found that this system is pretty fun, and I really enjoy investing in my teams in Honkai as well. And there is a meta that spreads across both of these games for team building, where you have a primary DPS and then you have support characters that kind of aid that DPS in being able to dole out the most damage possible. And I find that the team building in this fashion is actually really rewarding in both of these games. And now let's take a look at the worlds and world design. And obviously Genshin Impact has a much more expansive world to explore, and by definition it is an open world game, and you have a wide variety of environments to explore, and there's also new environments on the way. I really love exploring the expansive map in Genshin Impact, and being able to fly around, run around, and come across enemies in this open world is really enjoyable, and it's one of the main things that got me into Genshin Impact. Here's the thing about Honkai Impact. It also has a very interesting world, and there's also some really cool design elements. It's a much more futuristic world than Genshin is, but the one thing about Honkai is that it is a very linear game. Even in sections of the game that open up a bit more, you are still confined to kind of following these linear paths, although they do mix in combat with the linear paths, and the style of this design actually does make sense, and it's a lot of fun just kind of going along this path, coming across enemies, having battles, and then progressing along the predefined path. And so I actually enjoy the system in Honkai as well. I really like exploring in Genshin, but Honkai's more focused linear style is also welcome because the combat is so good in Honkai. So let's take a look at the story and how it's presented as well. In Genshin Impact, you can learn more about the characters by progressing through the story, and you also have character-focused hangout events where you can just hang out with one specific character. The cutscenes have also received a lot of love. They are all fully voiced, and you can really enjoy some of the camera angles and the presentation of the story through these styles. This extra level of support and added detail to the way the story is presented in Genshin Impact makes you feel way more invested in the characters, and it really builds up much more of a cohesive feeling inside of the game. It's also really cool to transition into gameplay from these cutscenes after you've just finished talking to the character and you've heard them and seen them in very different angles, and it just feels like an extremely polished experience. The story experience in Honkai Impact is released in chapters, and there's actually a lot of chapters released. I am nowhere near finishing the story, and through these chapters you can go along this little gameplay path, and you get to go on missions, and you see these mini cutscenes. Here's the deal with the cutscenes and most of the dialogue in Honkai is that it's presented in this like model experience where you have these 2 character models, and then you have text that you read, and most of the experience in Honkai Impact is not voiceovered, so you are going to do a good bit of reading. That's not to say that it's bad though. Overall, I personally prefer playing Genshin Impact a bit more, but whichever game you choose to put your time into, you're going to have a lot of fun, as these are both very polished experiences. I've honestly put a lot more time into Genshin Impact, and I feel like I'm only starting to get into Honkai Impact. And if you're interested in more information on Genshin Impact or Honkai, please check out pressingx.com, consider subscribing and liking the video as well. Thank you so much, and have a great day.